Alrighty, thank you for joining. Today I had a request to do XLM, my macro perspective, but before I do, what I want to do is actually zoom in to the lower time frame to show you what's really going on at the moment. All right, 1 second here. All right, anyway, so remember in my last video I was talking about this falling wedge pattern and how most of the time it does break to the upside, right? So we were around here where I thought that price was going to just break out, but it did sell off a little bit lower. Now it did manage to reclaim this very important resistance, which is now support. And like I said, once that does happen, I would expect price to move a little bit higher. Now, take into consideration that I also said I am bullish until this trend line is broken. But like I said, I'll become more bearish if we fall below these levels, which we have not. So with that being said, you can now start to adjust your trend line. This seems to be now a more respected trend line, right? We have one touch here, another touch here, and now we have the impulse a little bit higher. So like I said before, I would be targeting the top of this channel, which is about 6% away. It looks like we are getting that move. If you wanted to go ahead and draw a trend line on the top of this little mini support resistance level right there, right? Because that is resistance at the end of the day. If I go ahead and we just move this back, you can see resistance, 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 sell off, resistance, sell off, breakthrough. So more than likely now what's going to happen is XLM will backtest this level as support before continuing to the upside, right? So it is basically moving almost exactly as planned, but on the micro outlook of XLM, it is looking very healthy, and I could see a 6% increase in price and then eventually a 26%. Okay, so if you want to hear a little bit more about XLM and these trend lines, you could just watch a couple of my older videos. But let's go ahead and look into the macro outlook of XLM. Where do I think this project is going to go in the next bull run if we do get a, if everything turns out how it should, right? XRP, XLM, they're always involved, right? They're basically attached at the hip. So if we go ahead and just zoom out, let's go ahead and take a look at the daily. So we'll go to a macro perspective here. So locally, we are consolidating above this massive support, right? So as you can see, this was once resistance, now it's support. My next level is above. If I was to go ahead and mark out some monthly levels, it would be targeting this monthly high, which is untapped, and also this monthly high too as well. So let's go ahead and draw some of those lines. And it's the monthly open and close, which I like to use. Seems like price does respect that quite a bit. All right, we're going to go ahead and mark that. Here's another monthly level. And then finally, the highest monthly level we have on the Binance chart. Okay, let's go ahead and delete this. Go ahead and delete this as well. Oh, actually, you know what? Don't have to delete that yet. I'll just hide it. Okay. So when looking at XLM, we can see this is currently now a very decisive and respected bottom, right? So this is a very massive trend. Who knows if it's going to touch this trend again in 4, 5, 6 years? Who knows? But what I want to do now is actually pull a macro parallel channel off that current trend line, which has been respected since 2023 January. Actually, let's just go since December 2022. It's been almost 2 years, right? The 50% mark in the middle is always respected, as you can see. Tapped once, couldn't close above it, kind of back tested that area as resistance, and it back tested it here, back tested it here, back tested it here, couldn't close above, and now it fell below, right? And if it's a little bit hard to see, I can technically do this for you really quick, just so you see. Right, so that level right there, that is a resistance zone. So where do I expect XLM to go? You know, when looking at this, seeing how this level is respected a lot, yeah, I do expect when the bull run kicks off, if everything looks great, at least the very minimum to come back and test these levels, right? And you're talking a 300% increase in price, right? And a lot of people are expecting this to become, or the bull market to officially begin towards the end of 2024 into 2025. So with that being said, you know, the way how things are looking right now, I would expect price to kind of reach this targeted area around maybe March 2025. But if we do get to retest the previous highs, right, now you're talking 600% plus, right? So the more conservative number, if I can say that's conservative, is around 300% away. So that's a 3x on your account. And as you can see, it's kind of close to this monthly level, which is right there. We can even check and see if there's any weekly levels, and it looks like there are a bunch of weekly levels. So let's go ahead and mark those out. I can't even say a bunch, but no, there's actually not too many weekly levels. This one's a little bit lower. Yeah, this one's pretty much above the monthly. So the most important level for me right now would be this 50%. You have the monthly level above that, and then if we want to go ahead and pull some fibs, we can go ahead and do that to see what lines up with what. And then look at that, right? So you have the monthly level lining up with the golden pocket, and you also have the 50% retracement mark on the fib from the very high to the very low. So this would be my target area for basically the entire next year. How do I think price action will go? We don't really know, but you can see price is already respecting some of these levels. I would expect something like this, right? It might chop up a little bit, come down, we'll tackle these levels. It might just hit that just like that, but we don't really know, right? If we were to go ahead and just use this, just so it's a little bit cleaner, if we get a very strong impulsive move, then I can see it just going straight to that level, possibly getting rejected and just aiming for all-time highs. All right, so that's a lot of price action within the next year, pretty much. But yeah, for my macro perspective, 300% gain seems very reasonable. If everything goes well with XRP, if they do launch their IPO, then yeah, I would expect XLM to definitely tackle the high of this channel, which in reality, if you think about it, that is also a swing failure level too as well, right? So I would expect price to pretty much come up, tap this level, take the liquidity of this high before moving down lower. And that might be the end of the bull run for 2024, 2025, right? So price goes up, takes liquidity, comes down, does a swing failure pattern. If you don't know what a swing failure pattern is, that's when price goes up, grabs liquidity, moves down lower, and all of the trapped longs on this high right here, which lines up absolutely perfectly with this channel, will then be forced to close their long positions if they are taking a long with leverage. Then obviously when they close their longs, they're actually selling, right? So then a lot more selling pressure will be generated, and it will push the price right back down to more than likely that same golden pocket area, because even though that's massive resistance, that will be massive support. So to answer your question, yeah, 300% conservative, main target 700% away. And yeah, that's pretty much it with XLM. I mean, you can do some trend-based fibs if you'd like, from the absolute lows to the highs to the very low. And then look at that, right? Your 1-to-1 extension basically lands right in that area. So there's massive, massive, massive confluence happening right here. So there's my target for the next bull run, 700% away. All right, well, that's pretty much it with XLM. It is looking bullish, like I said, on the shorter time frame. Consolidated, price is now above this mini range, right? This is a range. We're now above it. If we could stay above it, the next level to look out for would be the 50% right above. If we could flip that, then the next level would be targeting this level above, right? And yeah, price action can look something like this. Right, who knows? But that's what I'm really expecting from XLM. Remember, use risk reward. If you enter in a long, always use a stop loss, unless you're just buying and holding. Like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, go to my X account and follow me. Nice, I gained about 2 more followers since yesterday. This was the video I posted yesterday about XLM and XRP. AVAX, which I did chart about, is doing quite well. And if you want to see how AVAX is doing now, look at this, right? So I said local trend line has been broken. Avalanche has also reclaimed the daily level. The weekly level above is the target as long as we don't get rejected from the trend line above, right there. So that was really the target there and the weekly. This is why it's always good to take profits and pay yourself, which I did. Price came down, it stopped me out, and I said I didn't get a chance to re-enter along, but oh boy, do I love trend lines. Blasted through the trend line, now it's attacking the weekly. You want to see where AVAX is at right now? I wish I got a chance to enter that long, re-enter, and it has blasted past my weekly target. So that would have actually, if I re-entered here, I would have gained an extra 10%. I would have probably exited here, 6%, which is great. Remember, 6% a week, every single week, 52 times for 52 times, right? 52 weeks in a year is a 21x. All you need is 6% per week. You don't have to be greedy. If you have $1,000 in your account in 1 year, you can possibly have 21,000. And that's pretty conservative. I know a lot of people, like I said before, that can do that within a few days. Not a whole week. All right, so thank you for joining. Like and subscribe. XLM, very solid project. Doesn't get the respect it deserves, but who cares, right? I just trade the charts. Whatever happens, happens. And at the moment, it is looking more bullish than bearish, but it did just get accepted into here. But still, VWAP, it might test a VWAP and then impulse higher, like what happened. Anyway, long story short, the main target for XLM right now, if I was in a trade, would be 5% away to these highs. Once again, thank you for joining, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day.